On the day of her birthday, she thought she was celebrating with her husband, but when a family he's been hiding for 30 years walks through that door, everything changes.
Who are they?
What is the shocking secret he's been hiding all these years? This birthday will turn into the most unexpected twist of her life. Stay tuned, because the truth will shock you. On my birthday, the doorbell rang. I opened it, expecting a delivery. Instead, there stood my husband, his face pale, with a family I didn't recognize. A woman in her late 50s stood beside him, holding the hand of a teenage boy. They both stared at me, waiting. My husband smiled awkwardly, like he had just found an old friend. "Happy birthday, honey," he said, his voice sounding strained. I blinked, my throat tightening. I looked at the unfamiliar family, trying to piece together what was happening. The woman stepped forward, her eyes filled with something I couldn't quite read. She said, "I think it's time you meet us." I froze, my heart pounding against my chest. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I glanced at my husband, searching for an explanation. He looked back at me, guilt written all over his face. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Instead, my hands instinctively reached for a small box on the counter. I had been holding it for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment to give it to him. The box felt strangely heavy in my hands. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my trembling fingers. Without saying a word, I handed it to him. His eyes darted from the box to my face. He hesitated, then slowly opened it. Inside was a picture. A picture of him, the woman, and a young child, taken years ago. His face turned white as he stared at it. The woman beside him gasped. My husband dropped the box, and it fell to the floor with a soft thud. I could see the regret in his eyes now, but there was no going back. The room grew colder, the silence between us more deafening than ever. I stood still, waiting for him to say something, anything. But he didn't. Instead, he just looked at the family, then back at me, his lips trembling. "Who are they?" I whispered, the words barely escaping my lips. My heart raced as I waited for the truth to spill from his mouth. The woman stepped forward again, this time with a trembling smile. "We're his family," she said softly. "The family he kept hidden for 30 years. The words hung in the air like a weight I couldn't escape. His family, the one he had kept hidden, now stood before me, a secret unraveling at my feet. For a moment, everything around me blurred. The room, the faces, the years we had spent together. It all seemed to fade into a distant memory. I looked at him, searching for any sign of the man I once knew. He was no longer the man I had built my life with, but a stranger whose truth had been locked away for far too long. The silence stretched, suffocating us both, until finally he spoke, his voice barely audible. "I never wanted you to find out like this." His words were fragile, like they could shatter at the slightest touch. I swallowed hard, my mind racing, but my heart was numb. "I didn't know how to tell you," he continued. "It wasn't supposed to be this way." I glanced at the family once more. The woman, his wife, the child. They all looked at me with a mix of uncertainty and sympathy. They were no strangers to pain either. "I need some time," I said, my voice calm, though my insides churned with 1,000 emotions. I turned away from them and walked to the window, the bright daylight outside feeling like a world I didn't belong to anymore. I could hear them behind me, whispering softly, but I didn't turn around. Instead, I closed my eyes, letting the weight of the moment wash over me. 30 years of secrets, 30 years of lies, and yet, in that single moment, everything had changed. I wasn't angry, not yet, but the hurt would take time to heal. I exhaled, feeling the tension slip away, replaced by something else, acceptance. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually I would find my way through this. For now, I didn't need answers. I just needed space. And with that, I turned back to face them. My heart was broken, but it was still mine. And as I glanced at the family that had appeared out of nowhere, I knew that no matter what happened next, I would rebuild, one piece at a time.